Last year, the Road Rangers responded to nearly 12,000 disabled vehicles, 4,600 wrecks, and more than 2,500 flat tires. 1 out of every 5 people are food insecure in Jacksonville. That means they don't know where their next meal is coming from. All you need is a saw, and it's pretty loud. You don't want to open it up yourself, you can damage your phone, but when in doubt, go to your local electronics repair shop and leave it to the experts. A few things you need to keep in mind, like bringing cash for parking, the clear bag policy, and most importantly, tickets. And here's a little tidbit you may not have known. As you can see, male mosquitoes don't bite. Treadmill Tuesday is not only getting people running, but also bringing awareness to water safety. By using voice commands like this one, prepare for surgery.
News 4 Jacks, we are ready for surgery.
That fundraiser won't take place here at the Jacksonville Landing. You can see behind me the Chicago Pizza as well as the game room remains closed. The cease and desist order is still on the window due to a number of fire code violations. Imagine walking out your front door to this. Piles of trash flooding the parking lot outside the garbage compactor.
It's appalling and it stinks. This is disgusting. This is gross.
The people living here at Sonoma Southside condominiums complain the trash hasn't been picked up in more than a week and it just continues to pile up. They're concerned about rodents endangering their health. Gloves on, groundskeeper Terry Mims has to clean up the mess.
They should call somebody else, at least to help me.
Mims has worked here a little less than a year. He says the trash has never been this bad.
Ain't no telling what you'll find in here.
Dozens of open garbage bags, mattresses.
I think that's a piece to a car.
He says the trash usually gets picked up every 2 weeks, but things got out of hand. He can't even access the trash compactor to see whether it's full or not.
There's probably no trash in the compactor, like. Once the pile starts, people just keep piling and piling.
For a little over a week, trash has been piling up here, and the residents just want it gone. But they also tell me this isn't the only issue they're having at this condo. People here tell me they've been dealing with leaky roofs and mold. Tarps still cover nearly every building since September when Hurricane Irma hit. Neither the landlord nor the corporate office would comment. Residents tell me it's been a constant problem, their voices not being heard.
This is disrespectful to the people who pay to live out here.
As for Mims,
I can't even move it, it's so heavy.
He says management may try to get some dumpsters to hold the trash in the meantime. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4, the local station. Roaming the highways of Jacksonville, Johnny Adkins and Cody Parham assist with anything from debris removal to serious crashes. They are road rangers.
It has to crash 295 northbound at Normandy. They're going to have the right and center lanes blocked.
After a call from the DOT, we were off to the west side. First, the cones come out, creating a barrier between drivers and the crash scene. A digital sign on the truck is activated. After the crash is cleared, the cones are picked up and
I'll be going back en route.
95 southbound, metal debris in the roadway.
Our ultimate goal is to keep the highway open, free and clear of any vehicles or debris.
They work for the DOT, and did I mention they offer free road assistance?
Change a tire, give out a gallon of gas.
Next, we spotted a car and van with hazard lights on along I-295. Turns out the car broke down, so Adkins and Parham helped push the car away from the roadway and onto the shoulder. They're prepared for just about anything.
We obviously have air compressor and tire changing tools, plenty of fuel. We use a lot of that. Hammers, bolt cutters, we're ready.
Right now, there are 16 road rangers and 8 trucks that cover the Jacksonville area. Last year, the road rangers responded to nearly 12,000 disabled vehicles, 4,600 wrecks, and more than 2,500 flat tires. DOT found that there was such a need, they're expanding the road ranger program to Nassau and St. Johns counties by the end of the year. That means more rangers and more trucks. If you've driven along I-295 North just before Roosevelt Boulevard lately, you've probably noticed this. Yellow paint now dry, covering 3 lanes.
The biggest issue is someone was careless.
This driver doesn't want to give her name. She was driving to work during rush hour Monday morning when a bucket flew into the road.
A 5-gallon jug of paint opened and spilled all over the highway.
She says several drivers swerved to avoid it, splashing wet paint everywhere. It wasn't until she got to work when she noticed parts of her car were
covered in yellow paint all over my wheel wells, the tires. It's horrible. You can feel the specks. It's all over like a mist.
She doesn't know what kind of paint it is, but says she'll have to take her car to a special detailer to get it removed and may even have to replace the tires, costing about $1,000.
This could have caused even someone to be killed if it had hit a windshield. They would have lost control. And it's just carelessness that caused this.
But if you don't know who's responsible, you're on the hook. Most comprehensive plans will cover the cost, but insurance agents say it's important to take photos of the damage and have a copy of your police report. She'll clean up the paint, and she wants those responsible to come forward and clean up their act. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4, the local station. Pieces of the ship will be cleaned up and put on display at the GTM Research Reserve. It's not even a mile away from where it washed up on shore here at Ponte Vedra Beach. The process was tedious. Riggers carefully transported and secured parts of the sunken ship onto a tractor. Even bystanders lent a hand. The wreckage was decorated with American flags. The Lighthouse Archaeological Maritime Program and other crews monitored the pieces as it slowly made its way across the beach. It drew a small crowd.
It's amazing. It's unbelievable how old it is.
By identifying marks on the wood, archaeologists believe it was built in the mid-1800s. They think it was built somewhere in the southern U.S.
There are a lot of tool marks and the Roman numerals that people have heard about that were scratched into the ribs. All these little tidbits of information. It's like we're crime scene investigators for a very cold case, 150 years old.
Skyford chopper was there to capture the progress. It took nearly 4 hours. The shipwreck was transported without breaking apart.
That was a ton of relief.
The wreckage will be on display as soon as tomorrow at the GTM Research Reserve. I spoke to some of the people that live here as well as patrol officers in the area. They're all happy the wreckage is finally gone. They said it's been quite the popular attraction, bringing unwanted visitors to this quiet beach. Reporting in Ponte Vedra Beach, Crystal Moyer, Channel 4, the local station. Well, there's actually a change in plans this morning, Nikki and Scott. There was an assembly that was held as soon as students got to school today. It was led by the principal, basically reminding the students of their role in keeping the school safe. You know, if you see something, say something, especially what's going around on social media. If they see anything suspicious, to talk to an adult or an officer. It was such an emotional day as students came in this morning, many of them having to pass this memorial. Just a reminder of that tragic situation, that deadly shooting that took place right outside of the stadium. The school district says it followed the proper safety procedures during Friday's game. In fact, there were more than 50 officers on site and a security check at the gates for the stadium. Thousands of people were leaving the Rains High football stadium after the game when shots rang out. 19-year-old Gerard Adams was killed. 2 teenagers, a 17-year-old boy who attends Rains High and a 16-year-old girl who attends Lehigh, were also hit by gunfire. They are expected to be okay. One student I spoke to said he didn't want to come to school today, fearing something bad might happen.
I mean, I do believe they need to get more security guards and stuff. It is easy to get weapons and stuff on campus.
Have you experienced anything where someone's been able to get on campus with one?
I mean, I know other students that wasn't supposed to be at Range to be on campus.
So again, talking about some of the changes made to security here at Rains High this morning, students and teachers were not allowed to pass this fence area as they were being dropped off this morning. They had to drop them off before you get to the gates. There's also more security at the gates. As the students were entering the school, all of their backpacks were being checked. They're also going through a security checkpoint. They're being wanted for any type of metal. So they are upping security throughout this area. As far as that shooting goes, the shooter's not been caught. JSO's still looking for the gunman, but they do believe that it was gang related. If you know anything, you're urged to call police or Crime Stoppers at 866-845-TIPS. Another thing, we also want to remind you, there is an executive meeting of the school board today. We will keep you updated on what they talk about. They're supposed to be having a press conference at 4 p.m. and we'll be there to bring you some of those updates. Reporting live, Crystal Moyer, Channel 4, the local station. January 26th, the date still written on the board in this classroom. That's when Arlington Country Day School shut its doors. The classrooms left untouched.
There's mold and mildew on the ceilings and things because the ceiling leaks were so bad.
After taking on nearly 100 new students, it made sense for Parsons Christian Academy to lease the neighboring property, former Arlington Country Day School. But the property is in such poor condition, these administrators can't believe just 4 months ago, students were learning here.
It's just very what we consider to be unsanitary conditions. A student sat in this chair. And so it just boggles my mind.
On a tour of the property, Parsons Academy principal Grace Williams showed me collapsed ceilings, dangling lights, and old carpets held together with tape.
Beams, the seams that just seem to come off, which is just dangerous.
Electrical and copper wiring were stolen from this building after a recent break-in. And they discovered 40 years worth of student records still in this office that's falling apart.
It's a little overwhelming. There are social security numbers in here. There are, vital information on students, getting them into college, birth certificates.
She says first her staff will pack up all the documents and take them to the Duval County School District. Then the restoration begins.
Just to get this room back is going to take a lot of work. And then we found this. I don't even know what that is.
Williams says this abandoned building has potential, but it will take $250,000 and a lot of labor to get this school back in shape for the next semester. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4D, local station. During a Skype interview, Kathy Carney explains it all started when she and her son went to a thrift store in West Virginia, their eyes set on 3 storage drums.
So we were looking for something cheap. My son offered $5 each.
When they packed everything up, they noticed the purple one had something inside. Carney opened the drum.
And on top, a man's wool pants. Because I knew it was somebody's dirty old clothes that they'd put in there and forgotten.
But there was more. The pants hiding hidden treasures, pennants, banners, and a University of Florida seal, including old rat hats with the student's graduation year, 1933. They would typically receive their freshman year.
Ironton, Ohio. That's where the kid was from. It says, go Gators. Auburn, 0, Gators 19. And you don't usually see a football score of 19. My son comes in, he's all excited because he has so much student debt. He thought, cha-ching!
Not so fast. Carney contacted UF's historian and learned the memorabilia was from the late 1920s. So she decided it was best they donate it to the university. Also in the drum, a rat hat from Georgia Tech. She says that school's historian was less than excited to find out there was a gator pin hanging from it.
We're going to take the gator pin off, or at least they requested that we did, and then they would take the hat at Georgia Tech.
Carney is eager to pack it all up and send the memorabilia from West Virginia to both universities, hundreds of miles away.
I want it out of the house because to me, it's a big responsibility.
Historians say these will be the oldest hats the schools will have on hand. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4D, local station.
Yeah, just caught me off guard.
Technician Fred Davis has been working at this eye repair Fast and Fruit Cove for a year and a half. He tells me on Saturday he was just doing a simple battery replacement on an iPhone 6S. He put the phone on a hot plate, warming it up to loosen the adhesive holding the battery in place. He then put the battery on a table to cool down when
I heard a pop, I looked over, and the table over there is just up in flames.
Surveillance video shows Davis grab a fire extinguisher, but the fire quickly burned out.
You can see all the ash that's on our hot plate here. So I moved it over and it burnt out right here. This is all that's left of the battery that was inside of the phone that we were replacing. It's pretty nasty looking.
Rechargeable lithium-ion batteries are used in almost every modern gadget. Davis says they are very safe but do occasionally catch fire or explode. You'll remember the massive Samsung Galaxy Note 7 recall due to a battery defect that caused the phone to explode inside this Jeep. Davis says the iPhone he was working on was purchased from eBay.
It seems like there was a defect in there or it was just really old.
So how do you know if your battery is good or not on your cell phone? Well, Apple's coming out with new software to help check the health of your battery. You don't want to open it up yourself. You can damage your phone. But when in doubt, go to your local electronics repair shop and leave it to the experts. Here at iRepair Fast, it only takes minutes for them to check it out. There are a variety of factors that can cause a battery to explode. Extreme heat is a common reason. Your phone can overheat in the car, in your pocket, even while you're on a call. That's why it's important to pay attention to how you store your phone and to get it checked out if you notice any charging problems or defects. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4D, local station.
A race car?
That's what it sounded like when nearly a dozen drivers in St. Johns County started their cars and realized that their catalytic converters were stolen. It's a popular item for thieves because of the metal inside.
Platinum ignites red hot very fast, so under low heat.
Tony Galdi is a manager at Midas and says in his 40 years in the auto business, he's seen quite a few cars come in with stolen catalytic converters. He says the platinum inside can sell anywhere from $30 to more than $200 at scrap yards. All you need is a saw, and it's pretty loud. Cutting through metal is the easy part, but accessing the converter under the car is a difficult task because of where it's located.
The primary catalytic converter is up there. That's not the one that they're going to get, and that is the most expensive. Your secondary catalytic converter, which is right here, this is the one they take off. It'd have to be a small person, and they have to climb under the car, which is only 6 to 8 inches.
Or use a jack to raise the car up. If you notice your catalytic converter is missing,
I wouldn't drive it because flames will be coming out of it.
Galdi recommends calling a tow truck. Depending on your car, it could cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars to replace. You can deter thieves from stealing your converter by parking in a garage or well-lit area, welding your converter to the exhaust system, or purchasing a cat strap or cage that can be installed around your converter. Crystal Moyer, Channel 4, the local station.